Yes, people. It's your boy Nate again, back with another video. I know I'm looking a bit busted. I need a trim and all that. Need a haircut. And yeah, it's bare cold. So I got the dressing gown on to keep warm because these energy bills, it's mad. Um, yeah, I wanted to come with another video. I couldn't really wait until um, I got a trim and all that kind of stuff. I just got to come with, with these videos because I was having a conversation with my wife the other day, and I was just talking to her about this Red Pill documentary, and then she brought up that she was having a conversation. She works in the sixth form as a TA, and she was talking with some of the older boys and some of her colleagues. They were all having a conversation in like the common area, and like some of um, the basically the boys are getting very passionate about um, whether they would want to be with a girl that has a high body count or not. And they didn't like she didn't tell me like specifically like what they class as a high body count or anything like that. But they were having this debate, and there was a couple that were like, yeah, I don't care kind of thing. And then they were like, but majority of the boys and even some of the male staff are like, nah, they can't have a body count and stuff. Um, they can't have a high body count and all that rare. Um, Obviously my wife, she's had quite like a sheltered upbringing. Like she wasn't exposed to like bare madnesses growing up. She has quite a few siblings, so she would spend most of her time at home was helping with her mum and stuff like that, and her friends would come round to the house and stuff. So her house is like kind of like a hub. So all her school, like a lot of her school friends and people around the neighborhood would come to her house and stuff. Not to say that she wasn't aware of things and wasn't aware of good and bad things. That she wasn't like living on a farm or anything like that. But in regards to like her experience of being exposed to a lot more things that say like even that I talk about, and then she will ask questions about it because she's just not sure, because it's just something that she just didn't really know about, or it just doesn't really make sense to her because she never really kind of delved into the like different subject stuff. Anyway, so she was saying like because obviously I was talking about this red pill topic and all this kind of stuff, and obviously that's part of the discussion in this kind of gender politics with um, like men feeling like the modern women are kind of uncompromising in certain ways, and that they feel like they can't have certain standards and all this kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, so I was talking to her about that. So she then brought this subject up, and and it was like really interesting because like when I started to explain um, to her, it was like at first she was like, yeah, but like why does that even matter? Bearing in mind that my wife didn't have a high body count. We were together when we were 19, so I was her first. So literally, she she's like she hasn't got a high body count. So for her, like a lot of these things, like just doesn't make sense. Like she's like why isn't that the case? Because obviously in reality, like even people in her peer group, she's the anomaly. Like she's the one that's been married for 12 years. She's been with me for 16 years, um, and she's the anomaly. Like out of her peer group, most people in her peer group and her friendship circles and stuff just haven't been with their their partner for that period of time. And they may be married and stuff, but they haven't been married for that as long as we have, and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, so just a back kind of a um, to give you context to like why like how my wife was thinking, why she might be thinking this way and stuff. So she was just like, what's wrong with that? Well, like, what's wrong with it? Blah, blah, blah. So I was also having to kind of explain to her from like the male perspective about why they're kind of getting so passionate about it and stuff. Because 'cause obviously it seemed like she was kind of on the side of the few guys that were like, no, it shouldn't matter, blah blah blah. And then obviously I was explaining to her that obviously like what's happening these days is with young men, you have young men. I say young men like in their twenties. So let's say like 20s, um, and women in their twenties, and 80% of those men in their twenties, potentially 90% of those men in their twenties, are are not getting the gal. They're not. They're not. They're not like getting the top tier girls that the 10 or 20% of the guys are getting. All the 10-20% guys when they're at that age are probably even less than that at that age specifically are getting a gal. As we get older, that top percentage probably increases a little. But obviously, I don't know the specific stats in regards to that. But I know it's around 10 to 20% of men of the men are sleeping with with the majority of the women, 80% of the women or whatever it is. And um, so I was explaining to her that at that period, in that time when they're in their twenties and stuff, the guy he doesn't really have much to offer apart from the way he looks, and the way he dresses and stuff like that. But if he hasn't got a lot of money at that point, he's trying to build up his money. He's trying to build up his wealth. He's trying to build up his values, and what he wants to do and what he wants to pursue, as a career or in a business. What kind of goals and things he wants in life, and he's trying to discover himself, right? Whereas the young woman in this scenario, and in her 20s, she's getting pursued. She's getting pursued by the guys that have already done that. They're now like late 20s, 30s, and they've got the P. They've started to establish themselves. They kind of know what they want. They start, do you know what I mean? And they're like leveling up now because they're starting to get into their stride. So these girls are going for them, man, and them man are moving to these girls. In saying that, at the same time, that um what happens is like it's like a swap, right? It's like when those same girls get into their 30s. So there's girls in their 30s now that them man in their 30s aren't trying to look at, because the man them that are now in their 40s ran through them. And so their body count's high. Now they're in their 30s and they're looking at the same guy that they rejected when they were in their 20s. They're looking at them like, oh yeah, now like, yeah, you're a good guy, I want to settle down with you. But they rejected them when they were trying to build and everything like that. And now those same guys are like, well, why would I choose you? You've been run through, or you got all this kind of stuff, and I can go with a younger girl, and I can then be, yeah, I can start afresh. I can go with a younger girl. She's more likely to be more fertile, because of age and stuff like that. She's gonna be more youthful looking, fit, all that kind of stuff, right? And so they're looking at that perspective, and um, so yeah, so then they're going for them women that are like five plus years younger than them, and then the 30-year-olds that have been ran through, they're like what, like, and getting upset about it. And so that's I was kind of just explaining to her that yeah, this ideology is coming from that. It's coming from that way of thinking, and that these discussions that are being had online. And so these young guys are hearing these things, and then they're like, "Rah, yeah, no, I don't want a girl that's being ran through, blah blah blah." And um, and so they're getting that ideology from there. Also, just generally speaking, within our society, like the value that a woman brings is her ability to reproduce, right? And she's born with that value. The man isn't born with that value. He has to build up his value. So the fact is that at that point, the man has to then, at the point of him being in his 30s and he's built up his value, if she's been giving away her value, like her her innocence or her body, so she's given a womb to another man, so she's had a child, she's had a child by another man, or um a lot of men have like basically had her, then that value that she was born with slowly starts to decrease, because she's been given that value to all these different men, and so the other men are not going to see that as valuable, because a whole lot of men want it. It's just like, if you have if you have a stunning piece of china, um, crockery, and that piece of china is been um, there's only like one made, and it's literally so valuable because it's rarity, right? Now, if you then duplicate that and you give that to everybody, then it becomes less valuable, because now so many people have access to this same crockery, china plate, or whatever it is. And so it's the same kind of thing with women. And I was kind of explaining that to her, um, and she was seemed like, yeah, she was kind of understanding what I was saying. I don't know if she agreed or not. She didn't really say. I think she was more 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 fixated on the language I was using, because obviously when I said like, if the gal be a run through, she like repeated it at the end, like like run through, like what? but um but yeah, I just thought it was very interesting. Um, and yeah, maybe one of these days we'll have a time where we'll sit down and can get some questions from you guys, and I can talk with her, and yeah, we can take it from there and get her on camera. She doesn't really like being on camera, but maybe she might be interested. But yeah, take care, guys.